So hey friends, welcome to this week's video. It's a little bit different this week, and not because I'm not giving you a review, it's just that this is probably going to be one or two videos I give you this week. I feel like this is going to be extremely important as an introduction video because I am going to start a series of videos around wireless gaming headsets, and that's not something I normally do. So the reason why this video is important is because I'm not going to be approaching this completely from a gamer perspective. The reason why I kind of wanted to do this is because I'm noticing I have mostly wired headphones, and there are certain instances at work where I want to have a wireless headset option so I can multitask. You know, a lot of the time now I'm on like 3-4 hour meetings on the same call, which is great to have my setup because I have my really nice microphone, my really nice headphones, and I can just hunker down, but I also am not like maximizing my time because I could do laundry, I could cook, I could, clean my room, I could do a bunch of other stuff. And I just don't do that because I'm kind of tethered to my desk at the moment. So the reason why I'm going through this won't be just around gaming, but it's also being able to use this in other walks of life. And that might not be ideal, but that's kind of how I'm approaching this. And it's kind of the reason why I had such a hard time starting this review, because what I've realized is that while I do have a ton of experience playing with headphones and earbuds over starting this channel, I don't have a lot of headphones that are related to gaming, and I think for the most part they have never really played nicely with each other, at least in the price ranges that I've been looking at. So from the gaming perspective, in my experience, they don't really transition to music very well. They're very tuned for, making action sound very good, making sure that the explosions sound really crispy, and that, certain details around like footsteps and how guns sound like that are very important. And that may not sound great in a music scenario. And then conversely with the music, for me, I like flat tuned headphones sometimes, so those would be not punch really well on games. Or maybe if I got something that accentuated horns and mids a lot, maybe some of the lower details and the crunchiness of the grass may not come through as well using those headphones. So they've kind of just lived in two different ecosystems to me, and that's the reason why I never picked up a gaming headset, because they tended to be more expensive as an all-in-one set, and yeah, they're just really expensive, and they didn't have the ability to transition to music allow me to justify for it. So if I was to break down how I use headphones throughout the day, it's probably 40% work, like video conferencing, discussions, all this sort of stuff there, and then the other 40 is just me listening to music. So that's just me listening to music between meetings. That would be me listening to things like recordings and things for this channel, me going out and testing them in the real life, or me going out to the field and working out with my headphones. The other 20% is sort of just open, so that would just be like movies, or it would also be gaming. So 20% of my time is probably around gaming, especially recently when I've been trying to find escapes from work. That's usually what I do. I play a plethora of games. I don't just play one genre, and I don't really have a mastery in a particular game, so I do like to explore around a little bit. And I think that's the reason why, for me, I was able to explore with headphones a little bit more, because I'm not looking for a particular signature for a particular genre or a particular game. The other reason why I don't really enlist to this fact that headsets give you competitive advantages with all this detail that they purport in their marketing is because when you look at competitions, it's mostly them wearing whatever they're sponsored by. And to me, unless you're sponsored by SteelSeries or something, you're probably just wearing whatever your sponsor's asking. For me in the past, playing with my friends' Razer headphones, never really been really good. I don't know what that is from a sound perspective they have on there, and their mics are pretty terrible as well. But you see a lot of gamers wearing it because they're getting paid a lot of money to do so. But, if they have, there's also the whole thing of just some of them don't even use over-ear headphones, some of them just use sound isolators with IEMs. So there's just a lot of stuff that just makes me feel like they're not getting a competitive advantage through the quality of their headphones. They're just good at the game. So, for me, I would rather have a headphone that works for everything, and then if I can augment it and make it more useful, and I can use it in the game. So I've experimented a little bit in my life. So this is what I kind of use right now. So for my everyday setup, when I'm just doing conferences or I want to transition to gaming or just want to be able to listen to myself in a more intimate setting, especially if there's other people in my house, I tend to use these ones. And these are the Fostex TH00X's Purple Hearts. And they sound really, really nice, especially with the modified pads. They make that help with the comfort. But the reason why I like these is they're semi-open, so I still get some airiness in the soundstage, but they're also just they're just very nice. They're a little bit more exaggerated from a sound perspective. They're definitely V-shaped, but they work for games, and everything sounds really, really nice. And they're very comfortable with the mod. They do kind of look gigantic on my head, especially when I'm checking on the monitor. But because they're so big, this is extremely light setup, and it has a really long cable, so I don't have to worry too much about snagging. And yeah, they're lighter than they look. Trust me. But if it's a hot day, or I have the ability to have a little bit more open setting, or I feel like I'm going to be playing with my friends a lot, I tend to be using the AKG K7XXs from Massdrop, and that's just because they give me a little bit more soundstage. I can discern different sides a little bit more, or different directions a little bit more, and everything just seems very light on head. Like the velour ear cups feel nice on the cheeks, as well as the whole setup just feels nice, and that headband just keeps everything kind of floating. It's extremely light. I like the looks. It's a little bit sleeker than the other one. So if you guys are looking for something that's wired, I definitely would recommend these. And the sound quality is solid for music, so you can transition easily to music or movies without any issues. And then for something that's a little bit more portable with a more integrated mic, because for those ones I use my proper Electro Voice mic with the boom arm. But for something that's a little bit more convenient, especially for laptops, especially if you're doing laptop gaming and you just want to plug in a 3.5, these Sennheisers do amazing. The Sennheiser PC38Xs, I believe they're called, super well touted. If you look at a lot of audiophile guys, this is their gaming headset from the lower end. Obviously, there's like crazy Sennheisers they use, but from the lower end, this is kind of what people like to use. And it's just because it's extremely comfortable. It has a lot of nice range to it and a lot of nice separation that will help you with your gaming and also transition to music. The boom arm is also really nice. Mute to go up, swing down to talk to people. The mic's not the best out there, obviously, but it is better than a lot of earbuds out there, and some of the other, microphones that are unidirectional from other brands. So this is a really, really good setup. Very, very simple. Works for like basically everything. Super easy to drive, so no problems with this one. Yeah, I don't use this a ton, but if I'm like not home, I tend to bring this one around, just for any sort of vocal needs or gaming. So as you've seen, all of my solutions so far have been wired. And the reason why I do that is because I don't generally like worrying about battery. I don't like worrying about latency. And I have all the accoutrement of DACs and amps to sort of power all this stuff. And that's great. And I know that not everyone has that availability. So I think that's the reason why I also wanted to get into this wireless setup, is because if some people don't want all this stuff on their table, they don't want to buy additional investments, they just want an all-in-one that's simple to connect with and be able to move around, I get that. Because this is a lot on my table. And for long meetings, I want to move around, but I'm tethered down. So that's the reason why I'm really looking to get a set of gaming headsets, because I do want to be able to game, but I also want to be able to have a good mic quality that I'm not getting out of my earbuds. And something that will last a little bit longer. I don't have to worry about charging if I do have a long session of talking. So, things that I also want to say. Because of how I'm looking at this, I'm looking at convenience. I'm looking at convenience, easy connection, good microphone, and nothing on my table. Very easy setup and nothing on my table. So there's some other options out there, like the SteelSeries Nova, Arctic Fight Nova Pro. Those are apparently the top of the line, like most configuration, biggest community support, closest to music-ready headphones that there are out there. However, they have a DAC that I just don't want on my table. And I don't have to worry about, I don't like the best quality that you can get from it is when you plug it in. And a lot of these gaming headsets are going to be that way. Like, you're not going to get that 24-bit sound unless you plug it in through the USB, which is fine. However, I do want an easy connection, and I don't want anything else on my table. So like, for me, the Arctis is a little bit expensive, and it has all that extra stuff with it that I just don't want. So that's the reason why I won't be looking at it for this review. So if you guys are looking for that in the future, just let me know if you want it to. I probably won't look at it right away because I'm trying to focus on stuff that I'll likely buy and keep. And just because it has that DAC, it's not something I would ever keep, just because I want to keep my already cluttered desk less cluttery. So it's something I can play around in the future if you guys are interested. So when we come to this, I'm basically looking at a bunch of different tiers, not tiers, but things that people have told me about what is cool about each of these. So the first one that we'll be doing are the Corsair Virtuoso RGB XTs, and these guys are great because of the microphone. That microphone apparently is a giant capsule, and it's omnidirectional, which should give you a little bit more natural tone, as well as bringing a lot more information around your surroundings. So you won't sound like a jack or like you're like a, what do you call it? A cashier at a fast food in a drive-through. You will have hopefully more clear quality through that. However, the omnidirectional has a downside that I probably will hear all of my typing. So we'll see. We'll test it. But that's the reason why I got this, is mostly for the mic. The next one I got was the Audiophile Mobius. I know that a lot of people prefer the Penrose for gaming, but I just got the Mobius because it was more expensive and it had a little bit more technology in it. So it was worth the price bump. From this perspective, these are planars, and probably the closest thing to like audiophile specific gaming headsets. They just have a lot of detail. They sound really good. They have a lot of dynamic range and punch that a lot of other headphones don't, yet they still work for music and gaming equally. So these are heavily touted from this brand in terms of those two models. These are quite expensive. However, I got these on sale through their B-stock releases. So Audiophile does do B-stock, and this usually brings down the price $100 to $150. So I did pick this up on one of those sales. So that is the reason why I have these. I'm just waiting for the microphone to come through, but after that I will get that review out. But again, purportedly best sounding gaming headset. So that's what I got, that one. And then lastly, I had to put a bougie option in there. Again, I could have put SteelSeries here because that's also bougie, but this one is just all in. So the Master and Dynamic MG20, super baller in terms of the price. It's like $450. But it looks pretty as hell, right? And Master and Dynamic has a nice punchy, darker sound to it, like warmer. So I think that will work well for gaming. And I like their earbuds quite a bit, so I figured that this would be dope. Another option that is in this price range are the Beoplay Portals. I think the only reason why I didn't get that is because it didn't have a boom arm and the microphones were a little bit goofs. But again, in the future, if you guys want to see that, put it in the comments and I can see when I can get to it. But again, it wouldn't be something that I'd probably buy, even though I love Bang & Olufsen's sound signature, especially after listening to the EQs. It's just, yeah, some of the microphone stuff and conferencing stuff was a little bit finicky from what I was reading. So it's just probably not something that I would pick up for myself. However, if you guys want to see that, just so I can help guide your purchases, put that in the comments. But for the baller option, I'm going to be using the Master and Dynamics MG20s. So those are the three. So you got one with the best mic, one with the best audio, and then one with the best aesthetics. Subjective, but that's kind of how we're approaching this. Again, I'm gonna be focusing on more than just gaming for these reviews, and the first one we're probably gonna start with was the Corsair. Because this is sort of just an intro video, I don't feel like I should do an outro, but you know, if you do want to, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, doing all the things that you normally do on a video that you like and love. And I will see you shortly because the Corsairs are coming next. So as always, appreciate you guys. Peace.